Hey guys, it's Lucas. It's been a while since I did a full garden tour for you guys, and this morning I'm going to take you through that big garden behind me and show you all the cool additions that I've put on this year and what I'm up to and what I'm growing. So let's check it out. So before we walk into the main garden, I want to show you some of the additions that I put on. Got a lot of wood chips from a tree guy before the season, and I built this little area here. Just put some critter fence around it because I wanted to let my strawberries continue to expand, but also I wanted to try to grow some more stuff in here. So over here I got 2 butternut squash plants and 2 acorn squash plants, and they get really long, so I'm going to let them grow all the way across this area here. It's like 20 feet. Let them grow all the way across that and see what they do. It's my first time growing squash in containers, so sort of a little bit of an experiment for me. So far, they look like they're doing really well. The strawberries this year did really well for me. We already harvested hundreds of them. If you want to check out this video, link above, you can see some of my strawberry harvest. And then one of my favorite additions to the garden was my greenhouse that I was given for free. Kept blowing over on my neighbor, and she decided to let go of it. I took it off her hands, and we're growing some tomatoes in here. I built this raised bed here. Oh, I got some cool mushrooms popping up back there. I'll have to show you those. And then I'm using these fabric pots for the first time this year. I think they're the 15-gallon pots actually. And I wasn't sure if 2 tomatoes per pot was going to be too much. So this year I'm experimenting. Most of them have 2 tomato plants in them. This one right here is the lucky one. He just has 1 pot. And they're all stringed up to the top rafters. In here we just have different varieties of cherry tomatoes. And they're starting to flower. Gonna start fruiting a ton of fruit really soon. These guys right here, another variety of cherry tomatoes, and I think it looks so cool. Let me see if you can see it better. Oh, we've got a little bee going to work over there. Thank you, bee. Love you putting in that work. But these guys right here, these indigo cherry tomatoes, they just have a cool, you're gonna have a really cool color to them. Pretty exciting stuff. And I'm really into mushrooms, so I just had to show you guys these cool mushrooms popping up over here. Love that. This is some new soil, so it's still kind of getting established in the ground. And I water this on a timer with drip irrigation for now. It seems to be doing the trick, because everything else on my garden that's not on this drip is just some sprinklers that sprinkle over the top of the garden. And I decided to build this little privacy fence over here to give me a little more privacy from the neighbor. I'm going to be working on building some more live walls just to give me some separation from them. It's nice to just put some T-posts in the ground here and put one of this lattice and just zip tied this lattice to it. And this year I'm growing some more tomatoes up it. Next year maybe I might grow something a little different, some morning glories or something. We'll see what we're growing next year. But some more cherry tomatoes. You'll notice a theme with the cherry tomatoes. I'm going to be growing a lot of them this year because I'm going to be selling them at my farm stand, which I'm going to probably start in like a couple weeks. All right, over here, this area gets pretty good sun in my yard, so I decided to make another bed over here. And it's just some more tomatoes. These guys are a determinate variety of cherry tomatoes, and they're going to be a golden color. This guy got eaten a little bit, but it's rebounding. It's a good thing. And I made this bed out of some old mushroom logs that weren't fruiting anymore for me. All right, and that's about it. The raspberries are starting to take over my garden, which I'll get to later, but if you could see, they grow out of the fence. They're just growing everywhere out here. I just can't believe how aggressive these raspberries are getting. All right, let's go on over to the main garden. Out front, got a variety of stuff growing. Have some onions growing, and we have some more tomatoes and some zinnias, my favorite flowers. And I did the same thing with this bed over here. Come on in. All right, first thing we have when you walk in the garden is our fig tree, which is growing pretty aggressively. Still no figs, but it's getting established in this bed. And I wasn't sure if it died over the winter or what, but I guess I kept it alive enough. So looking good, but still no figs yet. Let me see if I can get out of this. Get out here. Shade here. All right. This bed here is all pretty new stuff that I planted. Have some tatsoi. Then we have our Swiss chard. Some kale. Some dinosaur kale. Some pak choy and baby choy, like bok choy varieties. Some lettuce. And then at the ends we got watermelon that I'm gonna let run out this way. And then just a random sunflower. Planted sunflowers all over the place. All right, over here, got this trellis set up for my pole beans. These guys are nice. I started using these this year, these 8-foot T-posts. Really sturdy. And then I just zip tied some plastic netting to them. It's really sturdy trellising, gonna be great for the pole beans. And they're starting to climb. Starting to get a couple flowers, but not much yet. Not much action with the beans so far. And down here, I kind of just cast a bunch of sweet alyssum flowers on the ground and see what they want to do. Down here, we got some bush beans. And these big beauties right here, it's a variety of squash called patty pans. So they're gonna be these fun, small round shapes. But these plants get so big, I always have trouble keeping them from taking over my walkways. Oh, I got a little friend over here too. Hey buddy, thanks for coming. Got some dinosaur kale right there, looking good. I'm about to harvest that. And a couple more squash plants that I'm gonna let run through this bed here, which is all sunflowers. And then we get to the front and we got some radishes. Over here, we have the regular zucchini. Unlike the patty pan, these guys are the long green ones that you're used to seeing. And they're looking great. I love these flowers, they're so pretty. Just gotta make sure these guys are getting pollinated. These leaves just get so big. All right, back here we got some more zinnias. And the carrots are looking great. Just harvested a carrot last night, the first one of the season, and they're delicious. Then we have a big bush of peas here, which is starting to go crazy. These are gonna be great. And look, these flowers here, most of them are white, but then we got a couple purple ones here, just random. It's really cool. But yeah, this is pretty overgrown, this area. could have did a better job with the trellising, but we're trying something a little different this year. And then we got our sugar snap peas. We got a lot of these growing right now. This is great. I left this trellis up from last year. This is what I had my pole beans on. I thought it was going to be too big for these sugar snap peas, but it's actually a really good size. About 6 feet tall. And these look great. Gonna be eating these up. Beautiful. All right, making our way on to Tomato Row. Like I said, I'm gonna be growing a lot of tomatoes this year because it's gonna be something that I can easily put out on my farm stand and not pay a lot of attention to. We have mostly cherry tomato varieties here. And I do have like 4 aroma plants as well, but mostly cherry tomatoes. I love this trellising setup. I got this off of a YouTuber named Josh Satin. Gave me the idea. Put these T-posts in the ground. These are 8-foot T-posts. Put the T on, and then we run this pretty heavy duty conduit through it. Then just string them up. It's sort of the way they do it in the greenhouses, and I really like it. Oh, good to see the pollinators out. Where you at, bud? There you are. Thanks again. But yeah, starting to see a lot of flowers on the tomatoes. I think another couple weeks I'll be harvesting more than I know what to do with. And then I've just been putting random sunflowers out in the front too. My poor eggplant, they got eaten by some bugs. Those guys look pretty shot. These two. These guys got beat up too, but they look like they're gonna rebound. So I haven't given up hope on them, but the front ones, I might just rip them up. And then we got our peppers. I got 2 varieties of peppers growing. Thunderbolt, and then this mini variety called Lunchbox. And then, you know, I had a couple more tomato plants I didn't know what to do with, so I put them back here. And I got this beautiful zinnia starting to bulb a little. And then I've set this one up and was gonna do this all cucumbers, but I had some extra tomato plants back here, so I wanted to put them to work. So I started with some tomatoes. I left this area open because I'm gonna succession plant the rest of this out with cucumbers. And then I have 2 types of cucumbers growing. We have the Kirby cukes right here. And then I have the Divas, which are really the most common small snacking cucumber that you find. Really delicious. I planted them pretty close. The ones that didn't pop up, I just didn't replant them. I just want to give these a little more space. These cucumbers require a lot of pruning, even more than the tomatoes. Speaking of pruning, I got my raspberries over here, which are just trying to take over. I didn't realize how aggressive they were, and I'm really trying to hold them back. They're trying to grow into my asparagus patch over here. This is my year 2 for asparagus, so I'm not harvesting it yet. Next year will be the first year I harvest my asparagus. This will be year 2 for my raspberry plants, and man, they just are exploding this year. A bunch of different varieties growing, getting pretty tall, and I'm just trying to hold them back, and I'm gonna have to come in here with a weed whacker at some point because they're getting out of control. But as you can see, got some nice beautiful berries growing here. Very nice. Almost ready. You gotta get something ready. No, not ready yet. And then last but not least, we got my blackberry bushes over here. They're getting really tall. Didn't get any blackberries last year, so I'm excited to see them getting very prolific this year. I can't believe how tall some of these get. It's gonna be just like the raspberries though, gonna be hard to keep this under control. Nice to see that they're finally starting to change color. I think the variety of these blackberries are called Prime Arc Freedom. And then I just got some more asparagus here growing as well. But if you come behind here, the raspberry patch, it's a lot of work to try to keep it from taking over this whole row here. It just wants to grow out into the mulch. And that's it for our garden tour. So besides everything that I just showed you, I grow a lot of mushrooms too in random mulch areas by my daughter's shed and by my strawberries, and they slowed down a little bit, but for the past couple months I've probably harvested a few hundred wine capsularia mushrooms. And in my basement, in my grow tent, I grow some oyster mushrooms. And I also start my seeds in my basement under grow lights and to grow some microgreens too. I'm looking forward to keeping you guys posted on the garden this year. We're in June in New York, so July is when things really start taking off. In July and August, this is going to be so fall and so in bloom, and I can't wait to show you guys and keep you posted. If you got any questions, let me know what you think in the comments, and have a great day, guys. Stay healthy.